Hey there. Let's talk about hockey last night. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 6th, and I'm going to have a video later today previewing the 9 games that are on the schedule today. Last night was a lot of fun. Let's take a look at who the big scorers were, what happened. I had an entry last night that at the end of the second period was in third place. I thought I was going to win like $900. And then Pittsburgh exploded for the biggest, highest scoring game of the year in the third. And I didn't have Malkin on that roster. And I did not have Brian Rust. He oxygenated all of my, He oxidized all of my entries. Rust cleaned me out. I didn't pick him up. That was my killer. Even though Pittsburgh was a team that was expected to score a lot of goals tonight, I did have Crosby, I did have Malkin, I did have Hornquist, who was kind of a bust. Justin Schultz and Ian Cole were the two sleepers to pick up there. They're cheap defensemen, and they put up like 7.5 and 6 points respectively. I had Schultz on almost every roster, and he was one of the reasons that I came close to winning a big tournament, but ended up not. I also had Beagle. I didn't highlight him in the video yesterday, but he's a fan favorite of mine. I know he can play, and he's a cheap center. And look at that. He was, I guess, the second highest scoring center of the game, probably. I don't think Rust is a center. What a night. Columbus put up 4, but it was a little more distributed, except for Sam Gagner, who I didn't highlight, and I know he can go off. He's a very good player. The few games I've watched of Columbus, I've been real impressed with him. So to not pick him up is it's a travesty. And it's still, I cashed with like 3 out of my 10 entries and just about broke even. But man, it was close. Eichel looks like he got hurt again. I had him on my big entry too. So if he had scored, I also missed my goaltender, man. I had Longo and he lost in overtime. Oh, so painful. But yeah, it was so close to huge finish. It was really fun watching these games last night. So much offense. So, looking at who are the big defensemen, like I said, Schultz and Cole were big up to pick. Werenski, Ristolainen, nothing much above 3.5. I had Ekblad on my big roster, and he put up 3.5. So, I mean, acceptable. I wish he would have scored a game winner in overtime for me. That would have been phenomenal. The Hoffman, Stone, Carlson on Ottawa is what you really wanted last night. Is you wanted Stone and Ekman Larson, you wanted Carlson on defense, Stone, you wanted Rust, you wanted Malkin, you had some more, I guess you wanted Beagle, if you had room for a center. Phaneuf, I think, scored. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing what you could pick up last night. I saw 60-point rosters. One of the viewers of this video and users of the file had a 60-point roster. Tobias Ryder had a goal on Arizona. That was great because he was also cheap. Yeah, look at you wanted Kessel, Malkin, Stone, Carlson, probably Schultz on defense because he was cheap. Oh man, and Gagner. If you grabbed Gagner on Columbus with that, you would have had a perfect roster, I think. Yager scored. I picked him up. Okposo was predictable and scored. You got Rangers and Islanders tonight. I think that the Islanders are probably still going to put up goals against the Rangers. They've been letting up some goals lately. So looking at all of this, how much of this was predictable? How many of these guys were busts? Your OV, your Kane, your Caps were busts. You really needed to be heavy in that one game of Pittsburgh and Ottawa, and then grab a guy on Columbus. Now, I would say, but looking at the team goals that we glanced at yesterday, that was what that file was predicting as the highest scoring teams in that order. It was Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ottawa, or Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Columbus, and Ottawa has some really dangerous guys that you want to pick up, even if Ottawa's third on that list. So I like the odds of that. If I had loaded up 10 entries on just Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Ottawa, if I had just done that and put goalie somewhere else, or maybe picked up Bobrovsky because he did win. I did have him on a few entries. I did split up my goalies a little bit, but on my big entries I had Longo. You could have had a winner. So I'm going to use similar logic tonight in setting up the file and trying to figure out the highest scoring potential goal scoring teams and and split my rosters among them more focused, which will suck if another one of those teams that doesn't score a lot has a big night and I don't have it. Yuck. I don't want to think about it, but I think that's the way to do this because I really came super, super close, and it's because I couldn't afford Crosby and Malkin and Hornquist and Kessel on the same. So I sided more toward Crosby and Crosby and Hornquist. And that combination was not nearly as high scoring as Kessel and Malkin. And of course, Rust had to be brought in there. So you got to, if you know Pittsburgh's going to put a lot of goals like that, you got to focus on Pittsburgh and distribute more of their guys in there so that when that happens and they put up 8 goals like that, you can win the tournament instead of just come in. I think 200th out of 8,000 is what my entry ended up coming in. So I was only third there at the end of the second period. Oh, it was really cool though. So anyway, Ken's talk is out, and I will see you later today with a preview video for Tuesday night, December 6th, the 9 games on the slate. And as always, good luck to you, and may your players be scoring.